Henshin! What up, what up, what up, you guys? It's Blackwing 2040. Welcome to another Kamen Rider review. And this review is going to be on 2001's Kamen Rider Agito. This is my second time watching this show, and I feel like my opinion has changed a little bit, but some things are still exactly the same. And I've discovered some new things, and I pretty much, like I said, discovered some new things, but found some things that really upset me as well. Well, upset is kind of too forced, but kind of disappointed me, just per se. But Kamen Rider Agito aired in 2001 and also aired alongside Yakuju Sentai Gal Ranger, which is also the representation of Superhero Time 2001. So here is the synopsis of Kamen Rider Agito. A man named Shouichi Sugami has lost his memories. He doesn't know who he is, where he came from, or how he came upon his peculiar circumstances. Sugami, seemingly for no reason, transforms into a powerful superhuman, Agito, whenever in the presence of the beings referred by the police as the Unknowns, a race of powerful monsters that have been causing murders around Tokyo, targeting certain people as their prey. In response, the police department unleashes their newest weapon, the G3 power suit. Originally developed to fight against the unidentified life forms, the enemies of number 4, aka Kamen Rider Kuuga, G3 and Agito don't know whether they should join up and defeat the unknowns, their common enemy, or to combat each other, keeping the mysteries that entwine them separate. Ultimately, even more mysteries unfold with the appearance of Kamen Rider Gills, who is on a search to uncover why his father committed suicide. These mysteries and others collide as the true nature of Agito would ultimately determine the fate of humanity. So that's pretty much the rundown of Kamen Rider Agito. Now, like I said, what I mentioned with Kuuga in the plot synopsis, this show has this show is somewhat of an indirect sequel to Kuuga. And what I mean by saying indirect, they mention Kuuga. Well, they say number 4, but of course that's how the police call Kuuga. They never call him directly Kuuga. But they mention Kuuga within like the first 4 to 5 episodes of the show, and then after that, they just stop mentioning it altogether. So you only get a mention of the unidentified life forms, the name of Kuuga, and that's it. That's the only connection to Kuuga that Agito has. That's about it. Also, I could say with the suits being somewhat similar, somewhat, but not entirely the same. But that's about it. That's about it when it comes to Kuuga. Now, the next thing to talk about is the theme song. The show has two versions of the theme song. I like the first version. The first version is amazing, majestic, beautiful. It has that soft ballad that it goes through, like in the first verse. And then once the chorus kicks in, you get that guitar. And again, and then once the second verse kicks in, if you listen to the full song, slow ballad piece, and then back to the guitar. I love that. I love that. The other version of the song, which they call it the 24/7 version. I didn't really like it that much. I'm just like, why did we change up the intro? And for what? What was the reason? But again, that's pretty much all I could say. So, next thing I want to talk about is these characters. Before I even talk about the characters, I forgot to mention one thing. Instead of one writer, we got four. Four writers in one show. This is the second show of the Heisei era, and instead of going with just one singular writer, we're getting four. So Toei kind of stepped their game up a little bit with this. I don't know if it was for the good or for the bad, but I think it's an interesting feat to mention that they decided to go above with this one. And plus, the overall tone of the show is almost similar to Kuuga, but because this show is written by the great Toshiki Inoue, I found this out as I was rewatching the show. I did not know Inoue was the writer of every single episode except for one episode in this show. This show drags on so much to the point where the pacing of the story is what holds the show back. It's like to the point where mysteries are starting to get resolved, but then you tie in more mysteries to spin it out even more, which makes it even confusing. And by the time you want to get to the end, you would think the story's complete, But no, it's just like, no, we still got more episodes. We still got a story to tell. What story is there left to tell? And that's my problem with this. So the overall arcing plot with Agito, it didn't say this in the synopsis, but Shouichi, as you know what, I'll talk about Shouichi right now. Shouichi, our main writer of the show, he has amnesia, but so how this comes about, because the show drops the mystery literally in the middle going into the, like, I could say the final arc of the show. So Shouichi, who also went to school to become a chef, that's one of his skills. So he was on a ferry boat along with other individuals, and then the ship was under attack. Now I wouldn't say by two beings, but it came just attacked by two individuals. One individual dressed in all white, and he basically gave everyone on that boat, including Shouichi, the seed of Agito. And then he told everyone on the boat, I'm here to protect you because something's going to be the gift I'm going to give you guys. Someone's going to come after you and want to kill you all. And so after the being gives the people the gift or the seed, the Agito seed, or in this case, Agito power, the monster comes. Shouichi's frightened. He transforms for a little bit. He holds his own, and then he falls overboard, and then he's washed up on the beach with no memory of what happened. So that's his overall beginnings, his origins of how he became Agito. And I don't like how the show brings that up in the middle. I like to know how the hero gets their powers from the beginning, from the jump. Because if you're starting out the show, I get it, kind of gutsy to do that. If you're starting out the show with the hero already having their powers, already used to their powers, but to the audience, they want to know how the hero got his powers. And to the fact that you have to find out in the middle, quote, the third act of the show, I feel like that's kind of too late to give us this revelation of how this character came to be. So Shouichi as a whole, he's eccentric, he's funny, he's hilarious, but when it comes to protecting his loved ones, or in this case, everyone that's close to him, he has the power to sense whenever a monster of the week is around. So whenever he could just be doing just, his regular tasks throughout the day, but as soon as like someone's getting attacked, he could sense the monster from far away, and then he goes right into action. So I like Shouichi. And again, this show has a lot of likable characters. And Shouichi is really likable. I find him hilarious. He's funny. He's witty. He's goofy. It's great. And I also got to talk about his rider suit. His rider suit has definitely got to be a step up from Kuuga. I loved Kuuga's suit, but Agito's suit, that suit is beautiful. I never realized it after rewatching it, but man, that suit is beautiful. It's so good. The horns, and then when he's about to do his rider kick, the horns kind of open up a little bit, and it becomes like 6 horns on his head. Beautiful suit. Beautiful suit. And just to even mention about the other forms that he gets. I know I don't really talk about rider forms because there's a lot when it comes to these characters, but his rider forms, he has a lot less than Kuuga. And none of the forms that he has come with ranged weapons at all. All of his weapons are close combat weapons, no like bow and arrow, no range weapons whatsoever, no bow gun, none of that. So his dragon form is cool. I mean, not dragon form. His storm form is really cool. I feel like he uses that form the most. The flame form, probably the most underutilized form in the entire show, but I love that one the most. It's one of my favorites. His super form, which is his Agito burning form, love it. That form is just so peak. The flaming red of the upper body and how the suit's eyes are now yellow orangish and the horns are red, amazing. And his final form, Shining Agito, is kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Only thing is, I don't like how it has to be in a certain situation where when he's in his burning form and he's standing under the sun, that's when he transforms into Agito shining form. I find that kind of silly, but it's still a beautiful form. Still a beautiful final form nonetheless. But again, I like that about Shouichi. Now, the next character I want to talk about is our first secondary writer, and that is Makoto Hikawa, aka Kamen Rider G3 and G3X. Now, the interesting about G3X, or G3 as a whole, G3 is a man-made rider suit. Something, it's not a power that's bestowed on somebody. It's not a specific item that Hikawa gets later on in the show where he becomes a rider. No, he's a rider right at the beginning. It's a man-made rider suit that he has to physically put on, which is amazing. I like that design of it. And for some reason, I like the G3X suit more than I like the G3 suit. Now, Hikawa as a whole, his character, amazing. For the first secondary rider, he's amazing. The scenes that he has with Shouichi, comedic, just straight up comedy with between these two. The fact that Hikawa tries to understand Shouichi and his antics of how he does things, it's very interesting. But the chemistry that these two characters have, it's really, really great. And also, as a cop, he's amazing. He's straight up awesome. I, I feel like he doesn't really get talked about as much, especially with him being the first secondary writer ever in the Heisei era. But Hikawa, really great character. Now, the next character I want to talk about is Rio Ashihara, aka Kamen Rider Gills. He is our first tertiary writer, which is like basically a term for stating the third writer in each show. Rio goes through a lot this entire show. I mean, this guy gets shot at, this guy gets stabbed, he gets killed multiple times. I'm just like, he has a bad day almost any time, and yet he comes back for more. I find that he's got to be one of the most resilient writers when it comes to, I could say, when it comes to storytelling. And the Gill suit is very unique, with it being just kind of like a flesh style kind of rider suit. But the way how the suit looks with the horns, and when he does his rider kick, he spikes generate on the heels of the suit. It's his rider suit is just amazing. I think of him as kind of like a feral rider, if you will, kind of like on the ways of Amazon or Kamen Rider Shin in a way. Now, Rio as a character, like I said, he goes through so much. I feel like it's like there's nothing everything that this guy's go through, he comes back for more and he's still standing. I'm just like, how does this guy not give up and just goes into a deep depression hole? Sure, he has his down moments, but man, he never gives up. He never gives up. And I find that cool about him. Really, really cool character. Now, our fourth writer of the show is Kousu Kino, aka Kamen Rider Another Agito. I kid you not, that's exactly his title. Now, Kino was also on the boat with Shouichi, so he was also bestowed the powers of Agito, but his powers kicked in a little bit later. Basically, all the individuals who were on that boat got blessed with Agito powers, but their powers didn't kick in until probably like either a year or two later after the events of the boat incident. And Hikawa came onto the boat to rescue everybody. He wasn't on the boat when the monster attack. He was just trying to rescue everybody. He saw the scene from afar from shore and got a local boat, got to the ship and rescued everyone. Now, Kino on the other hand, I didn't really like him. I didn't really like him as much. His arc that he goes through. One, he appears very late, extremely late into the show, doesn't get as much action scenes. He wants to be known as the only Agito and protect everybody. So this kind of puts him in altercations with the other writers, with Ryo, with Shouichi, and sometimes Hikawa as well. But when push comes to shove and they have to face one of the main villains of the show, he's able to come to terms and realize he's not all that important to be the only Agito protecting the world. He realizes that Shouichi is also doing the same thing. So he's okay. It's just how much he gets to do in this show. And then also he's a doctor. He's able to operate on people. But the way how he goes out, it's just like his final battle, he lost his Agito powers. Shouichi was able to get it back for everybody, even him. But he just, it's not like he dies off screen, but he just dies. That's it. Like, no explanation whatsoever. He just dies. I'm like, that's kind of a cheap cop out, but it is what it is. So that's all the writers of the show. Now the next is Mana Kazuya. Mana is kind of like think of her as like a younger sister type character to Shouichi. So basically, Mana's family found Shouichi. They look after. He basically moves in with her family. She lives with her brother and her uncle, and that's it. Shouichi is basically like, I guess you could say, the housekeeper of the house, and that's about it. But Mana also has Agito powers. She can't transform, but she has specific Agito powers of resurrection and clairvoyance. And I feel like the show didn't go deeper as to explain how she got her powers as a whole. That's what I call that a missed opportunity and a big plot hole as well. Either I wasn't paying attention as much or it just went over my head, but I wish they went into more detail of how she got her powers. If you guys remember, let me know in the comment section below. Now, the next two characters I want to talk about is the G3 unit team. So you have Sumiko Ozawa and Takahiko Amura. So Ozawa is the one who created the G3 suit, the G3 and the G3X suit. And Omuro, think of him as the comedic relief character of the G3 team. So basically, not saying he's incompetent, but he's like that one teammate who the other members of G3 just make fun of or kind of cast aside. But he's okay. It's Ozawa that basically gets the most work to do, and I love her character. Her character is amazing, and she looks up and admires Hikawa as well as a cop and as G3 because she's the one that created the G3 suit. Hikawa's the one using it, and he's awesome. Now, another character I want to talk about, he's not part of the G3 unit team, but he works on the police department. Toru Hojo. I hate this guy so much. I know Toshiki Inoue knows how to write characters to piss off the audience. It's something that he does very well. Hojo, oh my gosh. Every single time this guy came on screen, he had it out for the G3 team. He had it out for Hikawa and mostly Ozawa as well. Ozawa always tried to put Hojo in his place every chance he got. Hojo was that kind of person who wanted to find his way to weasel his way to the top and even prove that he's the most superior officer on the force and the most superior user of G3. Funny enough, he actually got to try the G3 suit for a time. He had like one battle where he was successful, and the second time he got into battle, he got out of the suit and ran with his tail tucked between his legs. So Hojo ain't worth it, but he likes to prove that he's a better officer. He is such an asshole of a character. It is just like the moments where he gets punched by Hikawa or like slapped or hit by Ozawa, I'm just like, good for you. That's what you get. That's what you get. Serves you right. And Hojo has his own type of suit called the V1 system. When you look at this suit, it's almost like the design similar of Gavin from Space Sheriff Gavin, if you will. And that's, again, he only used it probably like once or twice, and that's about it. But Hojo is definitely one of those characters that you just like despise. Now, I want to talk about the villains of the show. Well, first off, the monsters of the week. I know I said they're called unknowns, but according to research, they're known as the lords. You want to call them lords, you can call them unknowns, whichever you feel comfortable with, whichever you will. So these other creatures are basically hunting people who were given the Agito power or killing anybody that was related to anybody that got the Agito power. And their methods of killing is ridiculous. Like, you have moments where they stick people into a wall, stick people into a tree. I feel like these guys are more vicious and dangerous than the Grongi from Kuuga. So that's they're dangerous. These guys are dangerous. And the main villain of the show is the Overlord, the ruler of all the unknowns. This guy, he's the one again that's trying to like prove that the world does not need Agito and that Agito's powers are evil. So I feel like as a villain or just a character period, he doesn't do much. I feel like the purpose, I feel like every time I see him on screen, I'm just like, what is his character's purpose? What is he supposed to do? What does he want to achieve? And I feel like I'm not really getting my answers with his character. So I'm just like, and as a villain, can you even call him a villain? Because there are moments in the show where during the final act, he takes away Shouichi, Rio, and Kino's powers as Agito. And of course, Shouichi was able to get his powers back. But I'm just like, why are you still here? Like in the final 5 episodes, he's still around. I'm just like, why are you still here? What is your purpose? I'm just left with asking so many questions. Now, the last character I want to talk about is the villain for the summer movie, Kamen Rider G4, aka Shiro Mizuki. So this is the character this is around the time where Toei does summer movies for Kamen Rider, and in the movies we get an exclusive movie writer, and movie writers tend to be very antagonistic. So Shiro is a character, or in this case, he's a soldier that witnessed what's the name of this place? He basically was at a facility that was testing with young kids that I feel like all these kids have Agito powers, and then they were attacked by unknowns. Everybody was killed except for 2 kids. He was the only one that stayed alive. All the other soldiers were killed except for him. And months later, someone from the force snuck onto the G3 unit team, stole the files of Project G4, and he became the Kamen Rider G4. The thing is about G4, think of it as the AI system trying to take over the human mind. So it's like a man versus machine type of writer. So the fight scene between Hikawa and Shiro in the movie is a perfect representation of man versus machine. I like that, which is cool. And again, Shiro's he's the movie writer for the summer movie. I can't really say he has any development, but it's just like he's I guess you could say personification of someone losing their humanity to rely on technology. That's about it. So that's my review of Kamen Rider Agito, folks. And Agito is mid. If it wasn't for the story holding it back, and if the story was paced better, it would have been higher. I would have put it in raw. But the characters are likable, but the story itself is what hinders the show. If the pacing was so much better, I would have put it in raw. But that's all I have to say. What did you think of Kamen Rider Agito? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Are you in between on it? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to be notified. And to give a little bit of an announcement, I know I don't usually do this in my videos, but after this review, I am taking a hiatus for a bit. Agito kind of drained a lot of energy out of me. I am proud to give you guys so much Toku content that I did last year, and also as much as I could this year. But after all of that work, I feel I need to give myself some downtime. So I appreciate you guys watching the videos. I appreciate all the Sentai reviews that I did last year. Majority of them have already hit over 1,000 views. So thank you guys so very much. Just know with this break, I'm not sure how long or when I'll be back. I just need some downtime. So, but thank you guys so much. Just know when I come back, I'll be continuing the timeline, which the next show will be Ninpu Sentai Hurricaneger. So just know I will come back with a full force with Hurricaneger, and then of course Ryuki. But Hurricaneger is gonna be heavy because Hurricaneger has a lot of stuff. The show, the Versus movie, the summer movie, and 2 anniversary specials, a 10-year after special and a 20-year after special. So Hurricaneger is gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I am Vengeance. I am Darkness. I am Blackwing. Stay golden.